The Unlimited Power of Joy. Hi guys, I'm Ian McMinn, and this is Path to I Am. The Unlimited Power of Joy. I have a homework assignment for you, which is to, whenever you have the ability to, so it doesn't matter if you don't always have the ability, but just simply whenever you do something that fills you with a ton of joy. Whether that's putting on your favorite song and dancing around in your room alone, whether it's calling your friend that you're just totally ridiculous with when you talk to and you have so much fun, you probably sound like a crazy person if you're in a public space, but you don't care because it's so fun. Whatever it is, whenever you take the opportunity for the next week, whenever you have the ability to be as joyful as possible and do something that gives you immense joy, do it. And a secondary bonus homework is everything that you do, allow the most joyful expression of whatever you're needing to do, whether you're scrubbing toilets at a job that you hate, or I don't know, maybe you already do what you love in your work. Just allowing in the most joyful iteration that you can muster. If it's not possible, don't worry about it. Because what I want to say is there's really no reason to not do this right away. To not simply pursue these actions when we have the free time to, when we have the ability to approach the tasks we feel we're required to do in our lives with the most joy. Because when I tap into that joy within myself, time seems to fly by. It's paradoxical. It flies by while also feeling so rich, like so much is going on. And there's a sense of everything's perfect just the way it is. I mean, to even need to think that may seem ridiculous in a joyful state, right? For some reason, some people have some thought that being joyful is dumb or it's weak or whatever. I think it's time to let that go. I think if you're clicking on a video like this, the odds are you don't feel that way. But there can still be within us, baked in, these negative beliefs about being joyful. But in my experience, when I'm in my joy, it's who I really am. And I have total confidence, and I just know what I need to know, right? In each moment, in each joyful moment that I do experience joy in. Right? And so the paradox of this, of the unlimited power of joy, is when I'm joyful where I am gets better. So so when I can develop unconditional joy, where I can be joyful in any situation, whenever I remember, whenever I let it flow, the situations, the circumstances will start to improve on their own. There will be opportunities, there will be things that arise. But the paradox is you don't need them to change because you're joyful already. And so in this way that time just seems to start flying by, before you know it, if you really start getting into this, you're going to look around and you're going to go, oh my God, my life has gotten amazing. The actual external circumstances have gotten incredible. But it's this paradox. It's because I'm just joyful in my own inner world and I'm doing whatever I need to do, right? But I'm getting to be joyful through it. Things just improve. I mean, I really test this. I mean, test it for a day, and if it seems good, test it for a week. If that seems good, test it for a month. And if that seems good, test it for 3 months and just build it into your life. And you'll just suddenly realize, like a year later, like for me, I have so many friends in my life now that I can just call on the phone and we can just yuck it up for like 4 hours. I mean, I've joked with a lot of my friends. I said, we should just have a podcast. I mean, we might as well have this be a thing we put out, because we'll just rant for like hours and hours about this type of stuff, about whatever else, whatever we're excited and joyful about for like hours. And I'm pacing around in my apartment And before long, I've burned off a ton of calories and I'm totally exhausted. And oh, we got a cat meowing. Maybe you can hear that, maybe you can't. But yeah, we before long I've paced through my apartment for hours and we've done a ton of stuff and I go, "Hey, I think I'm done. I think I need to get off the phone now," because it just flies by, right? And so that's an example of the joy for me, right? And so the more you do something, the more sort of quote unquote inevitable it can feel like it's becoming, right? The more joy that I practice, yet again, it's not work, it's joy, right? It's incredible. But the more that I do it, the easier it is to experience it in more and more situations, right? And before long, I can find not only has the pendulums, tipped, or not the pendulum, the iceberg has tipped, and it's the majority of the time, but it's the vast majority of the time, right? And that's when also, as I've talked about in other videos, I start to have some negative beliefs come up and I get to release those. But guess what? I can be joyful in that too. I can excitedly say, what would I have to believe is true in order to be having this experience right now? And I can joyfully name those negative beliefs like I've talked about in other videos. So this is the power of unlimited joy. It really, or the unlimited power of joy, however we want to say it. It can really light you up and it can emancipate you from any obstacle and it can transform those obstacles into, guess what, more joy, because that's what all the challenges, I would argue, if you want to take this philosophy on, feel free, try it on. When joy becomes your main objective, every challenge you face is something that when you overcome it and you transform it, it amplifies your joy even more. So it's fun for fun's sake, and everything that's a challenge is just more, it's fun in disguise. It's even more fun. And so from that view, I get excited. I'm like, oh my God, I want to be challenged more. And by the way, I never have a shortage of challenge in my life. My day to day, I have my stuff come up and all that. So there's never a shortage. But it can be joyful. It can be even orgasmic. It can be explosive in positivity to encounter a challenge, to encounter a negative trigger coming up, right? Which, if you think about challenge, that is normally what makes something challenging, is that there's some resistance component, right? Otherwise, it's just part of the normal flow, and that's great too. So this is the unlimited power of joy here, guys, or the power of unlimited joy. Just play around with it and start to see what happens. And by the way, yet like I said, joy can cause things to bubble up that want to be released, that want to be seen. So if you have that come up, love that or open to that and surrender to that. And if you want to visit my video on identifying negative beliefs, I have a couple on there. Yeah, do that. Because you may find going into the joyful path that it's also the path of getting triggered, which is kind of ironic, having your triggers come up, which yet again can just be joy in disguise. I can actually approach it in a joyful way if I want to. And what we put out is what we get back. So the approach, for example, if I encounter a crabby person in the street that says something crappy to me, if I relax and I remain kind, most of the time, maybe not every time, but I am surprised by how many people, like how many grouchy people I encounter flip, right? So it's the same sort of thing. We can view the trigger as a grouchy person. And so when it shows up, we can greet them with joy and peace and space, whatever they need, and we'll see that they will change to match that in some sort of way. So anyway, guys, I'm Ian McMinn. This is Path to I Am. This is the unlimited power of joy. Just play around with this. Notice how life can be fun if you want it to be. If you're open to that. You don't need to make it fun if you don't want to. But if you do, just try it out. And you can always reach out to me. You can always do a session if you need it. But, you know, these videos I put them out there for a reason. You can use these videos and get the benefit and do as you so please and start to live more and more of your wonderful life. So do as you wish, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.